Hey guys, how are you? Oh my goodness. I don't even know what to say right now. Um, Let me think. I don't know. Things are bad. Okay, so this morning information came to me, and I I don't know what to honestly think about it. Um, the first thing I said to myself was, "Holy hell! Oh my God! Look, I'm losing my voice." So we have a serious problem that they're possibly keeping from all of us parents. So before I get started on this cluster, you know what, mess, um, it's not good. This is not good. Um, like I said, I really don't know what to think about it. Again, it came to my attention this morning. Okay. Makes me sad. But it goes to show everything that I teach on here has got to be implemented by you guys, if not more so now than ever. Okay, I know I'm like totally bumming it today. Sorry, I don't normally come live on Tuesdays. I normally go live on my group and do a Q&A. But I figured I would do this live today and then tomorrow do the Q&A over on my group. Okay, so just put in the search bar Autism Mama Rocks IEP group. I was showing you guys yesterday how many people I have to accept in here, and I'm going to get to the meat of this. Okay, I'm just kind of giving you guys some preliminaries. So I have, oh my God, I'm going to accept everybody by tomorrow. I promise. Okay, but literally as we speak, I have 113 people to accept into the group. So just go now, literally, Autism Mama Rocks IEP group, and join. So typically on Tuesdays, I go live over on the group and I do a Q&A. Today I'm not doing that because of this information that came to my attention. I wanted to do it here on the page. So make sure to share this, guys. All right. Anybody who has a child with special needs and is in special education period, not just with an IEP, needs to know about this. So make sure you share away. I'll get started with, my name is Raven Woods. I'm the CEO and founder of Autism Mama Rocks IEP, and I help parents gain the knowledge and the confidence to become the CEO of their IEP meeting. And that includes giving you guys information that comes my way, and then also things that I live and learn and have lived and learned in the past 14, almost 15 years. So, PM me, Ash. So with that said, post a 1 below if you are new. So it's your first through third time catching me live. Unfortunately, you're going to get this mess for your first through third live time. But definitely post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live. You only get 3 tries, so, might as well post that 1. And if you are an oldie but goodie, post a 2 below. Make sure you guys say hello. Make sure you guys tell me where you're from, like what state. Again, I'm now working in 39 states. Remember it was 38 like 2 weeks ago? So I've worked in 39 states thus far. So anybody who asks that question, oh, do I need to hire someone in Arkansas if I'm in Arkansas, or Texas if I'm in Texas, or California if I'm in California? The answer is no, because we do everything virtually. And even though you guys are familiar with it virtually as of now because of COVID, I do all my IEPs virtually, and I actually teach you and my parents and my clients to do things virtually because it keeps you away from the table where a lot of that anxiety happens. It happens just as beautifully right on Zoom or Google Meets. You still can record. You can even record your screen. And then you can also not be pressured, for those of you who are still learning, not be pressured into, here you go, sign this. You know what I mean? So it's beautiful how it works. And so hopefully that answers a lot of people's questions. I've been to Wisconsin a couple times, the cheese state, right? So definitely join the group. Welcome. Post where you're from, what state. Say hello. Post a 1 below if it's your first or third time catching your live. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. Okay, let's get started. All right, so hello, guys. Brittany and Chantel and Maria and Amanda, Cindy, Aaron, and Kim, and I got Ash and Jesse and Betsy and Jerry. Jerry, welcome. And we have Carrie and, gosh, a lot of new people. And Tony and Angie. Welcome, guys. Okay, welcome. So definitely share away. All right, this is important. All right, so a lot of departments of education have done what's called a review. All right, they do a review of the state, and well, the state doesn't do a review of itself. Okay, let me take that back. It's a joint legislative audit and review. Okay, and so what happens is each state is reviewed to see what their education looks like. Okay, for say California, for say Virginia, for say Texas, Wisconsin, some of the places you are posting. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, all these different places, right? And so then what happens is they have a summary, they have recommendations, they have a report, and they have a presentation, which typically is in the form of a PowerPoint presentation, okay? And what they do is they lay out the law, and they lay out where that state is struggling and what is going on and what needs to change. All right. And it is very enlightening because it teaches us, well, one, it helps us understand why things are so messed up. And two, it helps us understand and be able to create ways in which to argue. I say argue, but if you take my PPPN system, which is trademarked, it's plan and prepare, present, persuade, and negotiate. Only if you have to. I only say negotiate if you have to. Okay? So plan and prepare, present, persuade, and negotiate. That is my trademark system that I teach in my course. So in order to present and persuade, which is what I call argue, you have to have information. All right? I always say objective data, proof, not subjective data, our opinion. Okay? Or a good example would be a teacher observation. That is an opinion. Data is objective. Okay? Okay. So let's get started. So I'm just going to give you an example. They first put what we found. Okay? And so once I got this, I was able to look up multiple states. They all had very similar findings and things that were found. Believe it or not, things are different in different states. IDEA is not. The federal law is not. But certain things and tweaks are done per state. Correct. But for the most part, when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, it always comes back to federal law. Okay? So, and that has never changed. All right? The states, every state has to adhere to that. Now, do they? No. But do they have to? Are they supposed to? Yes. Okay? So they go through different things, and I'm not going to address anything that doesn't have to do with special ed. But for example, they go through graduation rates in regards to students and students with disabilities, and they even have graphs. They go through enrollment in special education. And here's one thing I wanted to talk to you about is it says that it varies across school divisions, both overall and by disability. All right? So now get this, all right? It says the proportion of K through 12, here's the problem. The proportion of K through 12 students receiving special education in some school divisions is more than twice as high as others. And students in some divisions are more likely to be enrolled in special education because of a certain disability than students in their divisions. Differences in enrollment do not appear to be explained by differences in school division characteristics, such as size of the division or local poverty rate. Instead, insufficient guidance and vague terms in the state's eligibility criteria likely contribute to a variation in eligibility determination among school divisions for special education. What the hell? That's a problem. You know, one school division in your county to another county right beside you should not have different rules and regulations in which they accept children with special needs. That's what's going on. That's just number one of 50 million, it seems like. All right, here's the next one. This one's awesome. Love it. Love it. Just kidding. IEPs are not consistently designed to be effective and reliable guides for special education services. What the F? For real. Then it says, the quality of IEPs for students with disabilities varies across school divisions, and some IEPs do not contain required or key information. What have I told you? Then it goes on to say about 1/3 of a sample of IEPs reviewed by the review division. It's the legislative review division. All right, commission. It says, all right, now I lost my spot. Okay, 1/3 of samples of IEPs reviewed by the commission staff lacked a description of the student's academic or functional needs. The PLAF, the present levels of academic achievement and functional performance. All right, then it says, and 1/4 did not describe an effect of the disability on the student's educational performance. So, you know, usually it's on the page 1 or 2 of your IEP, and it will say, all right, your child has autism, and then it should say how autism affects your child in the educational setting. So that's what that means. Okay? And then it goes on to say the review commission found IEPs, half of them, all right, 48% is what they said, lacked academic and functional goals. Dear God. It went on to say a variation of IEP quality appears to be due in part of inconsistent knowledge, hear me, among key school staff, including special education teachers, regular education, it says general education teachers, and building level administrators about IEPs and staff roles in developing them. What the hell, guys? Make sure you guys are sharing this. I'm serious. This is crazy. All right? What I'm reviewing, for those of you who are joining, make sure you post a 1 below if you're new, first through third time catching me live. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. What I am reading is how it's a commission, all right, a legislative commission that goes and reviews all different states, all 50 states, all right, in regards to education as a whole, including special education. Then it comes up with recommendations, and it comes up with a great big huge summary, and it comes up with a huge report on the possible good and possible bad of what's going on. And most states are horrific, all right? So, and I'm reading a generalized one of what they found in pretty much every state, all right, that was provided to me, all right? And so it goes on to say a variation of IEP quality due to part of inconsistency. It says due in part of inconsistency and inconsistent knowledge among key staff, including special education teachers. Post your questions. Go for it, guys. I will get to them, okay? School staff, general education teachers, special education teachers, and building level administrators. Lack of knowledge of IEPs and the IEP development is what it said. Special education teachers noted in interviews that IEP development is not covered as thorough in some teacher preparation programs as others. Just like I said to you, as an educator myself, we are not taught how to write IEPs in school. We are not taught how to write goals. We're not taught how to write anything. We're taught how to write lesson plans, but we're not taught to write goals. We're not taught to write proper IEPs. We're not taught what SMART goals are. We're not taught anything about special education. Okay? There's no 1 year extra school for a special education teacher. Did you know that? It's just a gen ed teacher, a regular teacher, just like myself or anybody else that's a teacher, and you just say, I want to do special ed. There's no extra schooling. All right? Like a reading specialist does, I think it's 6 months. Don't quote me on that. I think it's 6 months at max, a year, of like a trainings and stuff like that for reading. That's all it is. Teachers with that extra stuff. That's it. Okay? So just because you have a special education teacher, there's no special school for special education. So if in your minds you're thinking that there's special education teachers and they're specialized like a pediatrician, and then you got, a gen ed teacher, nope, they're all in the same. Did you know that? So then you have, all right, where it's saying here, state laws and regulations do not require general education teachers and administrators to be knowledgeable of IEPs or their role as participants in IEP meetings. In black and white. I'm not kidding. That's what it says. All right, then it goes into, this is more gen ed, shortcomings in post-high school transition planning, VDOE intervention. Like I said, this is education in whole. I'm just kind of sticking to SPED. It talks about the Applied Studies Diploma for students with disabilities and how it does not help students access future opportunities and is not well understood. Just like I said to you, go listen to my video. You got your diploma track, you got your alternative assessment track, and you got Raven's zero track. All right? I say go with either diploma track if your child is maybe at most 1 year behind, but pretty much close to grade level. Then go with the diploma track. Screw the alternative assessment track, literally. Go with the zero track, all right? You can't go to your school, though, because this is Ravenwood's name for it. You can't go to your school and be like, hey, I want to be on the zero track. You can't do that. You got to just say, I don't want my child on any graduation or assessment track, okay? And you have to put it in writing, and I can actually give you a letter to write, all right? So, it goes on to say that about 20% of students with disabilities graduate with a diploma that provides limited value for accessing future education and career opportunities. Unlike the other diplomas, students receiving an applied studies diploma do not need to demonstrate that they have met any particular academic standard or curriculum requirements. Okay? Instead, they need to complete only the requirements of their IEP. All right? It goes on to say community colleges, nor four-year education institutions recognized an applied diploma. So that's why. Diploma track or zero track, because who cares about anything in the middle? Because what that does, like I said in my video, go back and listen to it, that your child is basically wasting time learning other things that the state requires in this alternative assessment track versus working on their goals. Okay? Then it moves on to talk about, despite emphasis on inclusion, states do not prepare general education teachers or administrators with necessary special education related skills. Oh yeah, this is just getting better, isn't it? All right, so then it says nationally, approximately 95% of students with disabilities are served in public schools, and a majority of students with disabilities spend most and increasingly more of their time in the general education classroom. That's the LRE, right? 71% of students with disabilities receive instruction for most of their day in the gen ed classroom. Most, okay? Not all. Students with disabilities that have the most profound effects on learning spend less time in general education classroom. However, time spent in the general education classroom has increased for these students, including students with autism, emotional disability, and traumatic brain injury. This is super interesting. General education teachers play a critical role in educating students with disabilities, but many general education teachers do not know how to effectively teach and support students with disabilities, including how to collaborate with special education teachers. About 50% nationally of the special education directors responding to the commission, all right, the legislative commission that does these, that goes to different states and evaluates how they're doing educationally, all right? And then it says many where does it say? Oh, the survey indicated that they fell half or fewer of the general education teachers in their division have the necessary skills to support students with disabilities. This is awful. It moves on to say many general education teachers are likely not equipped to adapt instruction for students with disabilities or work with special education teachers because they are not required to have much special education specific training. All right? They're not required. Okay? So, for example, all right, when you're an educator and you're teaching and you're actively teaching, you have to have a certain amount of training hours. Now, mind you, most trainings are 3 to 6 hours. Very few are all day. Very few are 1 week. Most, I would say 95% are anywhere past 1 week. All right, so we're talking 3 hours, 6 hours, and at times, up to a 40-hour training. That's unlikely though. And guess what that 40-hour training typically is in? It's typically in to be able to provide discrete trial. Hell no, you ain't giving my child discrete trial with 40 hours of training. You've lost your ever-loving mind. I mean, you could actually harm a child doing that, like I've told you guys before. So, for example, the state regulations require special education teachers to prepare programs to special education teacher candidates for co-teaching, co-planning with general education teachers. And then it goes on to say general education teacher preparation programs are not required to teach these skills. Okay, moving on. School divisions rely on underprepared teachers to fill gaps in special education teaching positions. This one. All right. Posted 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live. Posted 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie, okay? This is insane, all right? So let's talk about underprepared teachers who the school systems kind of throw in there to fill in the gaps, all right? So the Department of Education has identified special education as among the top 3 critical teaching shortages, or shortage areas, it says, since it began reporting shortages in 2003. However, the Department of Education does not collect the basic information needed to accurately understand the magnitude of the special education teacher shortage and across school divisions, such as the number of special education teachers in the state. It goes on to say how school divisions can't fill positions with fully licensed special education teachers, and they rely primarily on provisionally licensed special education teachers. Do you know what that means? They don't have a license yet. Start asking for your gen ed and special ed teacher's license. Ask for a copy. You can also look it up on the Department of Education website. Okay? It goes on to say, this is crazy, guys. During the 2019-20 school year, an estimated 15%, 2,038 of special education teachers were provided provisionally licensed statewide, compared to 5% of teachers in other subjects. An estimated 30,000 students with disabilities were taught by a provisionally licensed special education teacher in the 2019-20 school year. Going on to say handling of complaints against school divisions does not ensure all problems are resolved. Basically, it's saying that states, all right, nationally, they're rarely found non-compliant, or that any negative effects of noncompliance on the student are remedied through makeup compensatory services. Rarely requires school divisions to provide compensatory services. I can say my state has not so much done that when I've made a complaint, but I'll tell you guys, it goes to show, all right, when I make a state complaint, the last 2 I've made were 17 pages, All right, I don't play. You gotta basically do everything for them so it's dummy proof. And that's what I do. All right, if you make a complaint, all right, say you're saying fake and it's based off of whatever the reason is. All right, you gotta have your proof, you gotta have your recordings, you gotta have everything, and you gotta label it, you gotta give them your IEP, I highlight it in the IEP of where I want them to look. Page 36, I like completely dummy proof it for them. And I think that's one of the reasons why most of my state complaints are founded. Now, for example, recently I did 2 complaints for some clients. One had 19 and like 14 were founded. The others weren't because we didn't provide enough information. So we could go back and provide more information. But I was happy with the ones we got founded. And I mean, whether we put in for those others, the same compensatory and other things would have been provided anyway. So it wasn't worth it. And then the other one was 9 and 6 were founded. The other 3 were not so much founded, but the school systems were corrected. Does that make sense? So the state actually said, you need to be mindful of this and you need to take note. All right. So it was kind of like a no. And that's a good thing. So I just left it alone versus going back and saying, okay, let me provide more proof. On those 3, I just went ahead and said, hey, they got smacked on the hand. The state knows that they're screwing up. They already got founded on 6. And so I left it alone. But you have got to be proficient in writing your complaints. All right. So moving on, general education, it goes into saying how, when we're talking about the does not prepare general education teachers or administrators with necessary special education related skills. That's a big deal. It's just a big deal. But anyway, we're on school divisions rely on underprepared teachers. So basically provisional teachers, like it's a teacher that is getting their license. Okay. Or maybe they finished school, but they haven't taken their state test or whatever the case may be, but they're not, it's kind of like a doctor without his MD because he hasn't taken the exam yet. So it says United States Department of Education data on number of students who complete teacher preparation programs indicate that there are not enough credentialed special education teachers graduating from higher education institutions to meet statewide demand. For example, assuming a conservative 10% turnover rate, the Legislative Commission estimates that there were approximately 1,500 special education teacher positions to fill at the beginning of the 2019 school year in most states across the United States. However, only 303 students graduated colleges and universities of special education teaching credentials in 2019, an estimated 1,200 positions from other sources, including provisionally licensed teachers along student substitutes. Basically, it's kind of here or there. Then the complaints, the states aren't handling them appropriately. Summing this up, this is kind of the things that they recommended. Conduct a targeted review in the near term of the transitions sections of the student's IEP to identify improvements needed to student transition planning, to develop a robust statewide plan for improving transition planning for students with disabilities. They said they are requiring school divisions to provide a draft IEP to parents at least 2 business days in advance of the IEP team meeting, but only if a draft IEP is developed in advance of the meeting. Board of Education to develop, direct the Board of Education to develop and implement statewide criteria for applied studies diploma and require local school divisions to more fully explain the limitations of diplomas to families, like I did to you guys in that video. Diploma track, alternative assessment track, Ravens 0 track. Okay? I say pick 2. Either the diploma track because your child is 1 year behind or less, okay? And then the 0 track for all other children, all right, where you're setting them up for failure. And if you choose the alternative assessment track, then all you're doing is giving your child a bunch of work that they're probably not ready for, and that's taking away from them working on their goals. All right? Just like I gave you the example. They were doing algebra with my daughter when she was not anywhere near doing algebra and ready for that yet, because it was a state requirement for the alternative assessment. All the alternative assessment is a modified version of the state assessment. And then the alternative assessment doesn't even give them the type of diploma to do squat with. So don't choose it. Then it says, another recommendation is to review and update regulations governing K-12 teacher preparation programs to require that graduates are proficient in teaching students with disabilities and require teachers seeking license renewal to complete training in instructing students with disabilities. Direct the Board of Education to review and update regulations governing administrator preparation programs to require that graduates demonstrate comprehension of key aspects of special education. The next thing is develop and maintain a data-driven strategic plan for recruiting and retaining special education teachers. Revise its handling of special education complaints to require that school divisions carry out corrective action that fully appropriately remedy any found instances of school noncompliance. The next recommendation is develop and implement a robust plan to improve the effectiveness of its supervision and monitoring of special education. If I were to pick, well, let me tell you about this one right here. All right, at the video, the ongoing monitoring is too limited. All right, so the vast majority of school divisions could conceivably go over a decade without receiving an in-depth review of their special education programs from the Department of Education. Feedback from their state one, okay? Feedback from division-level special education directors about the Department of Education guidance and technical assistance in the area of special ed was generally positive, suggesting that improved monitoring by Department of Education would be both beneficial and well received. So the main things that alarm me and that scare the literal crap out of me, I would say number one would be school divisions rely on underprepared teachers to fill gaps in special education teaching positions. The next one I would say, despite the emphasis on inclusion, schools do not prepare general education teachers or administrators with necessary special education related skills. They have no idea. I mean, I had to explain to a principal 2-3 weeks ago all the terms in special education. He had no idea. Can you explain that to me? I mean, I don't fault him for not knowing, because you don't know what you don't know, but for a principal to be the person in charge, and there are websites it's nationally in regards to principals and how principals can actually be held legally responsible for their school. So not only can you sue the school district, you can actually sue the principal themselves because they are not upholding the standards in which they should within their school. That is their school. They are the ones who run that school, and they're required to ensure that all of their teachers and staff provide education to all students and FAPE to all students. They also are required to understand how to implement an IEP, because every single last individual that works with your child, gen ed, special ed, speech, OT, music therapy, dance therapy, I don't give a crap who they see, they all have to know how to implement that damn IEP with fidelity. And guess whose responsibility that is? The principals. Guess whose responsibility it is to train the principal and everybody there? The district. Okay? So this is a problem. Huge, huge problem. All right? It goes on to talk about how, where I was reading here, and teachers, don't be offended. My daughter's a teacher, and I was a teacher. This is just true. All right? I can't tell you. I'm on some teacher Facebook pages. All right? And they are struggling. Special education teachers are struggling because it's a very difficult way to teach children online, number one. But number two, they are inadequately prepared. They have no freaking clue how to teach this way. This is not how they were taught. So they're basically going from being taught to teach in person, all right, which is difficult in itself at times, right? to teaching online, which they were never taught to do. And then we, you and I, want our kids to have faith. That's definitely not happening. Ever across the board. It's just not. It's not happening in any way, shape, or form. And then you're all, you've told me, I've gotten messages all the time. By the way, post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live, 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. And I know I have 113. I think it's 113. Yeah, 113 people. Can you see it? Hold on. To add. Can you see it? Hold on. Yeah, 113 people to add to the group right now. But you better go join because I am doing a Q&A tomorrow over there in reference to this. So this is crazy, right? Hi, Tammy. Welcome. Hi, Claudia. But this is, I don't know what to say, honestly. So my third concern is IEPs are not consistently designed to be effective and reliable guides for special education services. Another concern is enrollment in special education varies across school divisions, both overall and by disability. That's like saying where you all live in your district, your county, the county over does it completely different on how they evaluate and make your child eligible for special education. And the reasoning is what's scary. It says directly right here. The proportion of K through 12 students receiving special education in school divisions is more than twice as high as others, and students in some divisions are more than likely to be enrolled in special education because of certain disabilities than students in other divisions. Differences in enrollment do not appear to be explained by differences in school division characteristics such as size of the division, poverty rate, etc. Instead, insufficient guidance and vague terms in the state's eligibility criteria likely contribute to a variation in eligibility determinations among school divisions. And then it goes on to say there's unreliable guides for special education services and how variation in IEP quality appears to be due in part of the specific inconsistent knowledge among key school staff. And it says, black and white, including special education teachers, general education teachers, and building level administrators about IEPs and staff roles in developing them. That's scary. So why is your IEP not put together until I get a hold of it? Inadequately? Because they don't know what they're doing. They have no idea. Every time I go before a school division, I rewrite their goals for them. I add goals that make no sense from their goal, and I add goals based off the present levels that the parents have said, yeah, that's accurate. And so I go off the parents' word of, yeah, that's accurate, because they know more than the teacher. They know. They've tested their kids' knowledge on some of those goals. Do that. Test your child based on their goals. See what's mastered, what's not, what they're struggling with, etc. Super easy to do. And then yesterday, I'm in an IEP where the goal was just clustered. Don't put 2-3 goals into one. That's why I'm going to teach a course. I'm going to teach a course on, and this is how I'm going to do it too. I'm going to take so many students, like 10 to 20 students at one time. I'm going to do a course, all right? It's probably going to be like a 2-day course. And then you guys are done, and then I'll move on to the next. I'll take another 10 to 20 people, all right? And then I'm doing it face-to-face because you've got to see me and talk to me, and we'll have a Q&A time and that sort of thing. So that's coming. And I put a poll up over in my group. I think maybe it was here on the page. I'm not sure. Make sure you answer. Is that something you're interested in? Because if you don't know how to write these darn goals, because they don't, then you're in trouble. All right. That doesn't mean you don't take some of their goals, because a lot of their goals make sense. Meaning make sense as in the purpose of the goal. All right. But like I did yesterday, I was like, this doesn't even make sense. I understand that you're trying to get him to write on a line and write, legibly. But why do you have a huge paragraph on writing legibly? Just keep it simple. The student will write legibly on lined paper. I mean, there's more that goes to it, but come on now, keep it simple. If that IEP IEP was dropped on the side of the road, someone picking it up should be able to understand what that damn goal means. All right? It should be understandable to the parent, to anybody that picks it up off the street, and that's it. That's how it needs to be written. Keep it super simple. All right? So I'm going to be holding a course on that. I'll take 10 to 20 students. I don't know. I may start off with 20 and then be like, oh, hell no, I'm going to do 10. But, you know, I'm going to try it out and see how it works. But I think so many people are interested in learning how to write accurate goals. And so when I do this course, bring your IEPs. I will use them as examples and do it on a whim. That's how I do it, on a whim. All right. That's how good you need to be with doing goals. And this took me, I'm on almost 15 years, guys. So what I'm saying is I want you guys to get like this. You look at a goal and say, no, this is how I'm rewriting it. And you know, all right? No question, you know. And you say, no. I'm not redoing your whole goal. I'm just making your goal better. All right? I kind of don't say it like that. I kind of say like, I get what your goal is, but, you know, it should be a SMART goal, and we have to be able to measure it accurately. Blah, 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 blah. Okay? So I'm kind of excited about that. It'd be cool to meet some of you guys kind of face-to-face in a small group setting. So I will be doing them in 2-day increments. So by the month, I'll probably do like four of them. And then, you know, we'll see. It'll take a lot out of me because it's work. But I want you guys to get it. And I want to teach it. And then I want you guys to ask questions. And I want you guys to then, I'm going to give you homework. I'm going to say, okay, take these 6 goals and go redo them for me. And then we're going to share them the next day. All right. So I'm going to create a 2-day program for you guys so that you can nail this. All right. Because you got to know. You got to know. I'm also going to teach you the present level portion of how you take the present levels and create the goals. All right. And then how you go with your gut on what do you want your child to do at the end of the day at 18 or whatever. All right. And so we build on that based off the present levels because we have to have a baseline. And then I help you move towards working towards those goals. So I want you to have goals in your IEP that you want your children to know at the end of the day at 18, right? So we have to work on that. The school has to understand that because that's IDEA. That's the whole purpose of IDEA is to help them become productive adults in today's society and be the best in that area, to be able to be the best they can possibly be at the end of the day when they're in society and school is no longer. Okay? So if you're interested, PM me, but also go to where I did the poll and answer, and then I'm going to create, you know, the program. It's not going to be easily created or not kind of created. I'm going to have like an outline for myself, but honestly, I know this stuff by the back of my head. So that's why I want to do it in person with you, not do like where you go and purchase a course and I'm not there. I want to be there because I have to help you in writing these goals. So I want you guys, like I'm going to have a blackboard and I want you guys to say, okay, what should I do for this goal? After I teach you kind of the ABCs, then I want you guys to then tell me what that goal should be because that's how you guys are going to get proficient. I want you guys to know how to create a goal by the back of your hand. All right. Literally, I want it to be where you can look at that goal and change it around within 3 minutes. All right. So I'm going to go into more depth of these problems. There's still recommendations. There's, how many? They gave 27. 27 recommendations. So we'll go through that on Thursday. Or maybe I'll do that and then I'll just jump to a Q&A. I don't know. How should I do it, guys? Because I want to do it. Maybe what I'll do is I'll go over the recommendations tomorrow. And then what I'll do is the Q&A on Thursday. How does that sound? Okay? You're funny, Erin. You're crazy. You're going to grow up and be like me. No, you need to just learn it and be you. So, yeah. So answer the poll. If you're interested, I can actually start the goal course and it just be something simple where I give you a sign-up sheet and bam, that's it. Pass it around to your friends, whatever. If you want to take this with your friends or somebody you know or someone in your like group of special needs parents, then when I get this out, and I will always talk about it, I'll let you know. It'll probably be in January. Okay, so I'm letting you know now. I'm going to get it together for January. All right, and January goal course. Present levels. All right, so I'll get it out probably mid-January. You'll sign up like the beginning of January. And if you want your friends to do it with you, make sure they're online with you, because I'm just taking the first 20 people. All right, and then because I feel like I want a small group. You know, so I may do 20 people the first round, and then the next one only do 10 or 15, because I want you guys to get the one-on-one. All right. With goals and present levels, it's so important that you need the one-on-one. You don't need a course. Let me go pay for a course and take a week, 2-week course, 6-week course, whatever. No, you need one-on-one with present levels and goals, because it's one of those things that you have to hear it. You have to see me do it. You have to see me teach you do it, and then you have to do it yourself with me there, so I can say, okay, well, what would you think would sound better and be more clear? You know, so that we can back and forth, you know, talk about it, so that we can, you know, really get you extremely proficient to where it's a no-brainer. You know how to redo a goal, okay? And then you can help all your friends, you know? And, you know, the goal here, my goal here is to spread the love in regards to I teach you, you teach someone else, and keep it paying it forward. Because the more parents learn how to know their present levels, how to get them, and then how to create proper goals, this is how our kids are going to progress. Okay? All right. Go listen, Debbie and Claudia, go listen to my video on here in reference to the tracks. I have a full video on it where I go in depth into the diploma track, the alternative assessment track, and my maid name, Raven's Zero track. It's really no track at all, is what it is. Okay, so go listen to that, and then PM me if you have any problems or questions. But what I was saying is that if your child is on grade level or maybe a year behind, no more than a year behind, then put them on the diploma track. But if they are not on the diploma track, don't put them on a track. That, again, that's my opinion and thoughts from my experience and educational background. But I just don't see the purpose. I'm always looking for, what's the purpose? How is it going to help my child? And how is it going to benefit her in the educational setting? Those are the questions I ask. So when I look at it, what is the purpose? There is none. How is it going to help my child? It's not. It's going to hurt her. So what the assessment, the alternative assessment track is it's a modified version of the state assessment. And then your child, without your knowledge, more than likely, is going and learning different types. They have to learn social studies, science, math. My daughter was working on algebra when she wasn't even, you know, regrouping, subtraction, you know, because the state requires it. So why the hell would I choose to have my daughter on an alternative assessment track that is doing things that she is not able to do at all, just because the state requires it, because my child was on the alternative assessment track? That was stupid of me to do, but I didn't know. So now you know, okay? Because if I learn something, I'm going to tell you. And I learn stuff every day, every single day. I am not a know-it-all advocate, because I don't want to know it all. I actually love learning. And if I learn something, I'm going to tell you. All right? Yeah, I got 15 years of knowledge. I can do present level and goals and all that stuff in the back of my hand. But I learn stuff every freaking day. And in every IEP, I learn something. And I love that. I love it. I love continuing to learn. And so, yeah. I did decide, guys. I know. I did decide I'm going to be working well, I'm sort of doing it now. In my state, we can work kind of like California. At 6 states, I am working with an attorney now to become an attorney. And, you know, I have to do 3 years. I took my ASVAB and I did great. Yay, me. And so now I am going to work under an attorney, and it's a 3-year thing, and then I can take my test. So that's what's up there. But I love being an advocate, so I'm still struggling with it, but I'm sure I'll learn a ton. So anyway, long story short, I will be live tomorrow to talk about these 27 recommendations from the Legislative Review Commission. And this is who, reviews states and so forth. So yeah, I'm sorry to bring bad news. I am. Thanks, Cynthia. Yes. So I do apologize. Make sure you guys share this. I'm sure people want to know. Join the group, Autism on Rocks IEP group. Stick that in your search bar. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow evening. And I hope you have a wonderful night. I'm sorry, again, to bring bad news. Go take the poll. Say yes or no if you're interested. It'll be face-to-face with me, so it won't be like, oh, let me sign up for a course. It'll be, which, by the way, all right, my full course from A to Z, teaching you my PPN system, is good. All right, that's worth it. You want to buy that. And you want to buy my services, accommodations, and modifications course. Okay, super cheap, under $50. But this part is new, and I am excited about it. But by the time you're done, you're going to know how to rewrite a goal. You're going to know what they should look like and why, all right? I will never teach you something and not give you the background of this is why it needs to be written like this. This is what the percentage means. This is what the trials mean, or times in the different verbiage, all right? And the matter of semantics in some of it. And then how to keep goals super, super, super simple, but still have the goal challenge your child. That's one thing I actually missed in speaking about today. It is also noted here that school systems and districts are not creating goals to challenge your child. They're not creating goals that are challenging in any way, shape, or form. It's frustrating, guys. It really is. But there's going to be a lot for me to talk about with this stuff, so it's going to go on for a while. But I just wanted you guys to know, and this is just the beginning. There's a lot more. I'm not even going over the report yet. All right, the report's 153 pages, so I have not gone over that yet. But I encourage you to stick around, catch me when I go live, click notifications so you know and are alerted when I go live, and we will see each other again very soon. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.